folks, it's 5:30. We're going to call the select board meeting to order for today, Tuesday, September 5th. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Couple minutes. Chris, do you have anything for us before our 5:32 appointment?
Let me go through some of the updates, if that's okay.
Sure.
Regarding the Route 202 Mass DOT project, I don't have anything new on that one. Regarding Forge Pond, we did receive the actual state contract for the $75,000 with our $25,000 match. I signed that and sent that back to the state. I contacted and I forwarded that to Dave Leonard to see how we can start to proceed with the work that was identified in the scope of the project. Dredging of Dufresne Pond, I sent an email to Carl Nielsen of TRC, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. Regarding repairing Dufresne Playground, to the best of our knowledge, we're still on target for the repairs to start, I believe, on the 15th of this month.
25th, right?
20,
tentative.
Was it 25th?
Yeah.
I thought it was 15th. Dog waste at Dufresne Park. Jeremy usually keeps giving you an update on that. West Street School, we are moving forward with the renovation of said building. The spraying of the park for ticks and mosquitoes, that was done. Update on the Hallen request, we're still waiting for, or our attorney is still waiting for their attorney to contact them for further information. Have not done anything with the MWRA. Update on the senior work program, I gotta dig out all that paperwork and start working on it. And on the update on the building commissioner, we haven't received any applications at this point, but I did get another site to advertise on. I think it's called the Federation of Building Officials. And we will be advertising there also, once I can get the information of where to send it.
Thank you. It's quite the rundown for 2 minutes.
Got it in.
We have a 5:32 appointment with Jessica Morehouse, one-day liquor license.
Hello,
How you doing?
I'm Phil Brecker. I'm the one getting married.
Okay.
We're hiring Jessica. She is a bartender slash caterer. She has had a bartending business for a while. She just recently started a catering business, so she does not have a catering license as of yet. But we have her courier request, the one-day special alcohol permit, certificate of liability insurance, the Department of Industrial Accidents page, as well as the application for the license. As long as we send it in upstairs, these are just copies. Police chief is here today. We are also in touch with the fire chief. I've been told that the only thing that hasn't been filled out is the amount of alcohol, and that's because we don't have the official guest count yet. As soon as we do, we will get that into you. I know the police chief just told me it's 72 hours prior. We'll have it well before that.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
Kristen?
No, and this is, your wedding reception is at Pioneer Valley Chapter 8, right?
That's correct. It's from 4:30 to 10:30 on October 2nd.
Chief O'Grady, there's no concerns?
No, I had a quick conversation with him. Like he said, I spoke with ABCC today. They said he had a to be determined on the application. They said as long as we have a number of what they're buying 72 hours prior, and they get that to town hall, then that should be good. Again, prior licenses, we've requested that they stay inside the building. Obviously, nobody under 21, and remain within the hours that the permit applies.
also in touch with the fire chief.
Thank you.
My future sister-in-law works for the state representative, Dan Carey. Her husband works for the town of South Hadley as a firefighter, but he also works part-time in the Granby Fire Department, so he's also in touch with the fire chief.
Okay. So we'll wait to, you just wait to hear back from the fire chief, that's it?
Actually, they just didn't know what you wanted to know from them. The fire chief as well as the police chief. It just wasn't clear as to, I know I'm supposed to get a letter of permission from each. They just didn't know what you wanted stated in such a letter.
It's maximum capacity, right?
Well, they should have, right.
Maximum
Yeah.
capacity in the building is 200.
Yeah.
We've invited 175. We expect between 150 and 160. And there's less than 10 workers.
We have,
Kathy's got a question.
I believe there's state fire codes that at anything over 99, you have to have a fire detail at the property. And I think he was saying that we were talking about whether they, depending on the amount of people, whether they were going to have one detail or two details.
Yes, I believe the fire chief said it's 1 over 99, but if it's over 150, we need 2.
okay,
We're in talks with them, and when we have the final guest list, we'll figure that one out as well.
okay. All right, so let's wait for the follow-up from the fire chief, and he'll give you the direction that you need to go in.
So we'll have the fire chief reach out to you.
We're actually gonna have Mr. Martin have him reach out to you, because you already put the request into him.
Mm-hmm. So you want me to bring a letter just stating that they're okay with it?
The chief,
Yeah.
the chief can submit a letter to our office
Yeah.
and it'll be put part of the
Okay,
packet.
so,
Now, when you say over 99, one detail is needed, are we talking about a police officer?
No, don't get, it's
No.
called the fire watch, I believe it's because they don't have a sprinkler system in that building.
Oh, okay,
So it's a fire code.
okay.
good.
I don't see an issue with it, but we need all the paperwork up. Once that's all done, et cetera.
Yeah,
I don't
All the
see a problem.
paperwork's in except for the fire chief's
Right.
permission, and do we need, if he just says okay, do we need?
so just the two things you're waiting on is the final number,
Yep.
and people that will be attending, and the letter from the fire chief. So we'll follow up with a letter from the fire chief.
We'll have a
That
final number
part.
2 weeks prior.
Okay.
I'm ahead of schedule with everything.
But that's good.
And then the amount of alcohol the chief also needs.
Correct.
More-
72 hours?
Yeah, I'm gonna have all that, well, like,
Yeah.
my plan is to have it all 2 weeks in advance.
Okay.
So, well be for the 72 hours.
Well, yes, because I mean, the chief will make sure all the information is in place, because if not, then the license will not be issued at that point, so. Is there a motion to approve?
Should we make a motion if we're waiting for all the paperwork tentatively, as long as we get the
You
paperwork?
can approve it pending the submission of all paperwork.
There you go.
Okay, so I will approve the one-day liquor license to the responsible manager, Jessica Morehouse. Organization name is Lena's Bartending, out of Springfield on Boston Road, to serve alcohol at the wedding on 10/7/2023 from the hours of 4:30 to 10:30 p.m., pending all the necessary paperwork is in.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes,
It's beer and wine.
Beer and
That's all-
wine.
That's all they
Thank
consider.
you.
And there's not, no hard alcohol.
okay, thank you.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Any further discussion? No. All right, so I would ask of Chief O'Grady, as well as Mr. Martin, if any documentation that is required is not in prior to the 72 hours of October 7th, then there will not be this permit will be revoked at that point before issue, okay?
Yep.
All right, all in
Makes sense.
favor?
Hi.
Anybody opposed? All right. Well,
Congratulations.
congratulations,
Enjoy your
good luck.
wedding.
Thank you,
Good luck, hope it works out.
much appreciated.
You're up again, sir.
You have citizen
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
participation.
Reilly, yes, you're absolutely right. We have citizen participation. We have Mr. George Randall, sir. And talk about the 9/11 Memorial update for us.
From me. Thank you.
George Randall, 52 Taylor. I just wanted to bring the board and Mr. Martin up to date. As you probably know, the monument itself is up. We have been meeting weekly to come up with a suitable plaque, and we are gathering as a committee on Thursday to meet with 2 prospective vendors to do the plaque. And of course, pending the approval of the fire chief. The lawn damage that we did to put the posts in has been repaired. The site looks nice. We have a landscaper on the fire department who has put in a he's dug out for a around the post so we could put loam in there and flowers and stuff, and he's dug out for a walkway from the post to the sidewalk. We don't think we're going to need to go for an electrical permit because we're going to keep our site green and go with solar. We have been very fortunate to have the services from Jerry from Valley Welding. He's been very generous to the fire department. And we were hoping to have a formal dedication this year, but it looks like if we can't pull it off by the middle of November, then it'll be next May. I'm probably going to lean towards next May because we don't want to rush this. We want it to be nice, and we want everything to be with the blessing of the fire chief and also with Chief O'Grady because they're part of it too. So that's all I have on that subject. Do you have any questions for me on it that I can answer?
The sidewalk, is that going to be concrete? What is that going to be?
It's going to be patio block.
Patio block?
It's going to be approximately 3 foot wide from the sidewalk to the monument.
Okay.
Is that enough for a handicap? Is a handicap ADA specs to do that? In case a veteran or firefighter in a wheelchair needs to come see it.
I can't answer that question because I don't know, but I will. I'll bring that up to the committee on Thursday.
Okay,
That it has to be
Wheelchairs is your 36-inch
that's what I
Oh.
got, yeah.
wide door you usually need for handicapped
Sure.
accessibility.
Okay. Well, I think we're at that, or a little above it. I'll make sure.
Okay.
Like most blocks, usually 12 inches or 18 inches, so.
I'll make sure of that. The last thing that I have, and I didn't write it on the paper, I apologize, is Charter Day for next year. I don't know if anybody's stepped up to the plate or not to run things. I obviously can't, but if I told the outgoing committee that I would be available to assist for whatever my health would let me do.
I've heard of several people talking about it. I don't think anybody's made an official commitment.
Did anyone call you, Kathy?
No, so like I said, I've heard several people talk about it over the
good.
past month, and I'm actually gonna follow up with those people
Okay.
that they were talking about to see, because they seem like they're really committed to it, so I'll
good.
follow up on it.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the time of year that you need to make commitments to your vendors, sign contracts or get.
Well, the food is by invitation of the committee. So whoever's on the committee will invite whoever the food vendors that they want there to have a variety. Should the new committee want to put it out to bid, they can.
Sure.
That's what they have done in the past. But the rides are still what Finelli's. We're on the last year of the 3-year contract. So the rides are already taken care of.
Oh, so then you have to
Yeah.
make arrangements for fireworks.
You would put that out to bid, you would do an RFP for it, yep.
Okay,
Yep.
squares me away. Thank you guys very much for letting me come before the
Thank you,
board.
George.
Welcome.
Greatly
Thank you,
appreciate it
George.
very much. All right. Chris?
Yep. There are no Dufresne rentals. We do have a letter from Labrie, Poulot, LaRoche, and Giel. The Narakis are looking to take another parcel out of Chapter 61A. It's a 1-acre lot located on Lion Street. Do you want us to see if the Land Review Committee can meet to review this parcel?
I think so, just be consistent as we've done in the past, so
Okay,
we'll send it out to the land review.
all right. Another item we have is the Granby Planning Board will be addressing the 193 Amherst Street special event venue permit. And they are requesting comments from any and all boards regarding what they would like to see included as conditions for the venue, special event venue permit to be included as part of it. I'm sure the board would want to make sure that they obtain any entertainment licenses as necessary on an annual basis.
I would think, right, anything that's going to pertain where someone else would have to have a permit that would follow suit.
Okay.
Entertainment or any liquor license.
The
or-
common victualers and
Yeah.
pouring licenses and
Yeah.
so on and so forth, so.
Yeah,
Even though it does say that under special event venue that structures and certain events may require additional licenses or permits approvals from other town departments or boards, I just think we should make sure that it's stated specifically.
Those I'd like to spell out because they're very important, that, so people know that they're required to have those permits or licenses.
And regarding the pouring licenses, I think we should make sure that they have to start the process at least 60 days in advance of the event and not just show up at the last minute.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think most times people that are going to book an event like that probably are making reservations ahead of time, so I would
Okay,
agree.
okay,
And I'd also too just think maybe, if need be, that maybe, depending on traffic and events, a police detail might be necessary on sometime on that road. I know it's come up before when we approved the winery over on East Street here. There was talk about that, not that we approved it, but there's talk about, the days you have special events or heavy traffic, that they would entertain having a police officer there to help out with traffic, so,
I
sometimes.
believe the police chief was gonna make comments to talk about parking and traffic control and stuff.
Correct,
So-
correct. They had some suggestion in there, like at 150 people, they would hire one. I'm not concerned about the people as much as how many vehicles.
Few vehicles,
traffic in and
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of things I'll
Okay.
send.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was looking at their plans, it looks like they got the flow going pretty well, but it is a bad little corner.
Well, it's just that, most of the time, if it ends at a certain time, you have a mass
Exit, yeah.
exit of people coming out of that road.
Yeah. And I'm sure fire department's probably gonna address if fire details are necessary or fire watches are necessary. And probably if there's a tent, I believe it has to be inspected by the fire department prior to the event also, so.
Yeah,
And the building inspector, that's what I was gonna say, depending on how big the tent is, the building inspector might have to come.
It's just those type of things I wanna make sure that we get covered in there, that they're following all the procedures accordingly.
Right, because we're the ones telling them what they need to have for permits and licenses, so we need to make sure that, or inspections, so we should make sure that we're doing our part and ensure everything is included, so,
Okay.
for safety.
All right. So. Next item is, I don't know if Crystal, if you wanted to cover this or not. There is an email, I think, between Crystal and Elaine LaFleur regarding the letter that was sent to her, asking if to be the grant writer for the town of Granby. And I believe her response was that at this point in time, she's gonna have to pass. However, she believes that her daughter, who is a paralegal, could do the job. So, at this point in time, apparently Ms. LaFleur is denying our request to do grant writing services for us.
And pretty sure I'm correct with this, she is the one at the town meeting who said she'd be interested in doing it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, if her daughter wants to reach out to us, I mean, that'd be great. I mean, we can't, I want to solicit her to help us out, but if she's willing, if she wants to be part of it, I don't know as to what it means by that, whether I know it was being discussed that she was going to do it for free, so I don't know if her daughter is
Interested in doing it for free too.
right? I'm speculating that, you know, but you know, again, if her daughter is interested in doing it, I mean, certainly.
All right. And the final item I had is, I had received an email from the town of Hadley that I forwarded to Glenn,
Yeah.
because I was requested to regarding they still want to enter into an IMA, an intermunicipal agreement for building inspection services between Hadley and Granby. Currently, I am not interested in it at this point in time. When I had original conversations with them, it was gonna cost about $125,000. And we were not gonna have a 40-hour position sitting here.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know if this board is interested in meeting with their board to talk about shared services, or if we should continue forward with seeking our own full-timer.
Because I know they had recommended that myself meet with their chair, but I wanted to also bring it up to this board here to get their thoughts on it before I decide to entertain something from you know, the chair or the town of Hadley. But, I mean, again, if we're talking $120,000, that's, for $120,000, we're getting a full-time person.
Right.
What was the 120,000 for?
It was for, I believe it was,
Besides pay?
basically that's what it was mainly. It was pay and some of the electrical and plumbing or gas inspector stuff too. And that's it.
That's probably covering some of their benefits as well.
Yeah.
And we put, our ad is for 100, right? For a building
I did
commissioner?
85 to 100.
Okay,
The only reason I did 85 is if we have someone who, say, maybe close to taking their final test, we could start them at 85 and upon completion of their test, jump it to the 100,000. I was just giving myself some leeway because we have operated with the waiver from the Department of Building Standards to allow us to have that occur, as long as they were committed to taking the test with a certain period of time, so.
That 120,000 seems a little expensive.
is it
for
120 or
us.
125, did you say?
It was 125.
125.
I think it's.
I'd like to see a breakdown of that piece, or what that entails.
Because what do they
Okay.
pay? If it's-
Let's see if I can go
Is
back and
Hadley
find it.
paying the same thing? If we're gonna split the services?
Well, they were talking about hiring another commissioner or inspector. And that basically, that's what it was gonna be. We were gonna basically pay almost for the second inspector and their benefits.
But we're not getting someone,
And we're only getting like 20 hours a week out.
Yeah, we weren't getting a full 40 that we are looking for with budgeting what we budgeted for this fiscal year.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No. So they already have one, they want another one, and they want to share the
And
cost
they
of
want
the
us to
second
pay
one.
for the other one.
Yeah.
That's how it, that's true.
That, and the fact is all the building permits and all the permits were gonna be issued and kept at their office in Hadley. And I didn't like that. I think all our permits should be issued to this office and retained in our files.
I agree.
Well, you said, you had mentioned that you were going to post it to the Federation of Building Officials website, so try that, I mean, see what we
Yep.
get.
Yeah.
'Cause I think the 125 is a lot too, for 20 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
It's extremely a lot.
Yes.
I can go back and get my
I'll go-
school and go
yeah, I'll go
for it.
back to school for it.
Yeah, I go back to school. But that is a lot of money and for someone that's part-time and someone that we don't have a say in a lot of things because it's technically not our employee.
Correct.
Yeah.
If you want, I'll forward you the email, because they had a sample IMA between Gardner and Hubbardston that they included in there.
Was that their breakdown, Chris, or is that what we are suspecting that would probably be?
No, I had met with them originally, and that was the number they threw at me when I sat and met with them
Yeah.
originally.
I mean, if they want to propose something factual in writing with numbers, I mean, I'm sure the board will take a look at it, but I think if it's, 125,000.
yeah, that's,
I think anything that's over 100,000, I think for a part-time position, it's crazy.
Okay,
Or we can look for someone for ourselves for a 40-hour-a-week position.
yeah.
That amount for less.
Yeah.
That's it for
Anything
me.
else? All right, moving right along, departmental reports.
I will make a motion to approve departmental reports.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second that motion.
Is there any further discussion at this time? All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay. We have approved and signed maintenance warrants.
Sorry, I'm gonna go in order, so hold on 1 second. I just want to
Okay.
put it in order. New one. All right, so I will start off with fiscal year 2023, warrant number 84, and this is dated June 30th, 2023. And this one is a bills payable warrant in the amount of $6,535.58. So I'll make a motion to approve this warrant.
Is there
Have a second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
Put it to paper. So I'm done. All right, next one is warrant number 84, fiscal year 2023, dated June 30th, 2023 for the school, in the amount of $108,864.33. So a motion to approve that warrant.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I know, Chris, you're gonna get sick of me asking this, but I'm really trying to understand the solar, because I know they have solar and we have town solar, right? Or is the solar only through the school?
No,
Okay.
the school bought solar before we did.
Okay,
So they're buying it from a different field that we're buying it from.
okay,
When we bought our solar, we're buying it from a field located in Athol.
okay.
And I think they're buying it from the field located on East Street,
Okay.
okay?
Is that, a Flam property or something?
I think it's, the other, those 5 that are,
That was part of Westover.
yeah,
whatever
you're
that
right,
is,
but
yeah.
it's like 5 individual fields.
Yep,
Okay,
That's what they're buying their solar from.
that's where the houses used to be, they tore the houses down.
okay,
It was part of the Westover
Yeah.
municipal, airport, yeah, or management company.
It was part of the FAA program
Yeah.
to get houses out from underneath the path from the C5As coming in and the noise
Okay.
created by that.
okay. Thank you. Because I noticed they had solar, and I know we have solar on our other ones, so I was just trying to understand
Yep,
where the breakdown was. in this.
we're buying from 2 different fields.
Okay. Thank you. That was it. I already made a motion, but I'll make a motion
You
to
did?
approve this. Yeah, I did.
I didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear either. I thought you went right into the
We're
question
getting
about the
old.
solar.
So a
I'll
motion-
second that motion.
Well, can you,
Crystal.
just maybe
to-
do it again
yeah,
then?
So a
Thank you.
motion to approve warrant number 84S for fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $108,864.33.
Is there a
I
second?
will second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. We'll check the tape later, Rick.
Yeah. I think she's gaslighting us.
I will make a motion to approve warrant number 10, fiscal year 2024, dated August 11th, 2023, and the amount of $306,670.24, and this is a bills payable warrant.
I'll
Second.
second that motion.
Any further discussion?
I had a question. Is the mapping for the assessor's office, you know how they're getting the new equipment? Is that what the mapping was done from CAI?
No, that's to maintain the regular maps, the paper maps.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
from another company.
okay.
The other one, the software you're talking about is the Vision software that they use.
Yeah,
This is the actual company that actually prints the maps
okay.
that are used.
Anything else, Crystal?
What does MAAO stand for?
Mass Association of Assessing Officers.
Okay. That was it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
We should have 2 of these. Yeah, this one right here.
Next.
Yep, I will make a motion to approve warrant number 10S for fiscal year 2024, dated 8/11/2023, in the amount of $37,777.43.
I will second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Did we do warrant number 11 another time?
Yes.
Okay, We did it the last time, right? Okay. All right, so I will make a motion to approve warrant number 12, fiscal year 2024, dated August 18th, 2023, in the amount of $182,727.67.
Is there a
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you.
All right, next one is a motion to approve warrant number 13, fiscal year 2024, dated August 25th, 2023, in the amount of $350,531.76, and this is a bills payable warrant.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
All right, next one is a bills payable warrant for the school, number 13, fiscal year 2024, in the amount of $83,092.22. So I'll make a motion to approve that.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain?
I think they told me that as long as I don't have any financial interest in it, I can vote on it. Yeah. And my name's not on this one, so I don't have to. Next one is a motion to approve a payroll warrant number 14, fiscal year 24, dated September 1st, 2023, in the amount of $451,269.15.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I will abstain.
Abstain?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll abstain from the selectman's salary and the teacher's salary, but approve all the others.
And we are voting on the selectman's salary out of necessity. Rick and I.
Yeah.
All right, and last one is warrant number 15, maintenance warrant for fiscal year 2024, dated September 1st, 2023, in the amount of $232,668.26. So motion to approve that
I'll
warrant.
second that.
Second. Any further discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
approve minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve our August 21st, 2023 Select Board meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, next we have prices for the bulky waste day. No, we did that already.
We were just waiting on the tires.
All the tires. Did you find out from rookies?
The price that we're suggesting covers the cost of disposal at Rockies.
I think we're just trying to figure the difference between,
Chrysler tire.
A truck tire and a tractor
Right.
tire.
A tractor tire would be one that's on a tractor.
A tractor trailer or a tractor?
A tractor.
tractor,
Okay.
which is, we thought that was
was
just one
$500,
clarification.
right?
It was something like, it was just you know, they're much bigger than a tractor trailer tire.
We haven't seen many of those because to dismount those, you need the crew that comes out to the.
Yeah,
The
Okay.
barns and stuff.
They typically have the crane and they take the tire away at the same time.
And some of those last as long as the tractors do anyways, right? So,
You know, because a tractor trailer tire would be the same size as a regular
yeah, that's what we thought. So
truck tire.
that's what we thought. We just wanted to make sure that in case anybody had come down, we're just doing it the right way.
So let's be clear, the auto tires, slash auto tires with rim is $15/$20, right?
That's what you guys said,
Yep.
Brooke, it would cost at
And then the large
Brookings.
trucks slash rig rim, each are $30 or $40 if it's with rim, right? And then the tractor tires, each $100. That,
Yes.
keeping
Yep.
that?
Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
right, you mean, one
No,
good?
that's all.
All right. We have approved and signed the common vic.
Before we move on, also, people were questioning about yard waste days.
Okay,
Those are being, Dave, we asked Dave today about it, and he's proposing October 28th and November 18th for yard waste days.
November what?
November 18th.
18.
Okay.
And then the hazardous waste is in the spring,
That's always in May,
in May.
and that's usually done in conjunction with South Hadley.
Okay.
Works for Dave, works for me.
And was that still going to be 8 to 12 for the bulky waste day? Because I know you had asked if we could extend it.
Anyways, we decided to go 8 to 12.
Okay, okay. I wasn't sure if that was doable or not. Okay. And then, so the yard waste days would also be 8 to 12? Is that a Saturday, right?
Hasn't been too much. We're usually there setting up. It just takes us a little while to get the chipper set up and everything
Okay.
up and ready. And a lot of times we'll start a little bit before the official start time, but I prefer to keep the yard waste days as previously advertised. It hasn't been a problem, or doesn't seem to be,
Probably don't get a little, I think the bulky waste is more than
Okay.
yeah.
if you have no yard waste. 'Cause
What is the yard waste hours? What are the hours typically on the
Then
yard waste?
8:30 to 12.
8:30 to 12? Okay.
and we have,
There is no common victualer's license.
Just the pouring one that we already approved, right?
That's the pouring that has been approved before, yes.
Do I need to read it? Since
No.
we already approved it? Okay.
No. That's just there for your signature.
Okay.
yeah, looks like it's time for the highway superintendent.
You'd like to speak about bridges.
Yeah, I was gonna say the bridge report's in there.
Before we get into a specific bridge or a specific defect, I think it's important to take a look at the big picture, though. I think I mentioned this to you before, and just as a refresher, though, we've got 7 official bridges that meet DOT, federal DOT standards, which are over 20 feet. And we have 3, what Mass DOT calls small bridge, or BRIs, which are between 10 and 20 feet currently. Out of those 10 structures, 2 are relatively new. Aldrich Street was replaced, I think, around 2002 or 2003. We put a request in to Mass DOT at the time of the big dig. They were central artery temporary bridges that they wanted to reuse, and they were just trying to buy some goodwill, I think, because of all of the reductions in the Chapter 90 around that time. There was a lot of people screaming, including me, about the reductions in our in funding to the municipalities, and they did offer that out there, and we were fortunate enough to get one of those bridges for free. So that was a grant at Aldrich Street. And we had one of the smaller spans, the Morgan Street culvert, we replaced ourselves. That was an emergency replacement. We had sought bids on that project and could not get a contractor to do it in a timely fashion. I reached out to some of the local contractors, Baltazar and so on and so forth. Everybody was busy at the time. No one wanted to price it. I reached out to a company in New Hampshire, CRS, Culvert Rehabilitation Specialist, and at that time they were, we'll talk to you next spring or whatever, and this is summertime now. And Chris and I talked, and we didn't want to leave that road closed for a year, and we priced it up and did the work in-house, and we did it for about, what, a third to a half, a little less than half of the cost of the bids that came in. So 2 out of the 10 have been replaced recently. I've worked on 6 others at different times. North Street, I was talking to Chris about that one this morning. We started on that one shortly after I was hired. I think Bob Glessman was still running as the administrative assistant at that time. And we had done concrete repairs underneath that bridge. We rented a barge from Danny O'Connell's. We used a repair mortar. There was a lot of spalling concrete and exposed rebar all over the place, and patched that one up. It's starting to get bad again. They don't last forever. Bridges deteriorate. Porter Street was a relatively new one as well. That was replaced just prior to my coming on board in the late 90s, I believe. I've worked on New Ludlow Road when we were first, when I first started. There was a problem with settlement on the abutments. There was a lot of riprap that was missing underneath the bridge. We rented conveyors and replaced the riprap underneath the bridge, and there was some bolts missing at that time. We replaced some of those. I know there's still, I think there's 1 nut or bolt missing, and it's something on a cross brace between piles. I don't get too excited about 1 bolt missing. That's what factors of safety are for. But I think the bigger picture is when you see a critical or an immediate, that's when you got to start worrying, or they're going to give you a D rating. They'll start derating the bridges, giving them lower weight ratings, or closing a lane. And that happens a lot on Mass DOT bridges. You've seen all of the Jenga blocks or Lego blocks. They build up. That's because the bridge has got a critical failure, crack or something in an abutment or in a carrying beam, and they're worried about it collapsing. If they didn't do that, they would have to take traffic off of that lane or something like that. We haven't seen any of that. I'm not saying our bridges are perfect. The one up on Carver Street's getting pretty tired. We just did some work on that one as well. That was a few months back. They put an ASAP on one of those, and what was happening was there was some erosion underneath one of the wing walls from all these big storms last year, and we rip-wrapped that and stabilized the slopes around the abutment. That bridge is getting pretty tired. There's a lot of rebar that didn't have a proper depth of cover on the rebar, so there's really not much you can do. I mean, you can put some repair mortar on it, but it's just going to flake off again because the moisture gets in, it corrodes the bar, knocks off the repair. If you don't have at least 1.5 inches or so of cover over that rebar, it's not going to keep the bar protected from the elements, and it will rust. So New Ludlow Road, I know there's some issues on the piles, but again, you have to weigh the cost versus when you can squeeze the work in, if you can get the contractors to do the work. We've been trying to keep an eye on everything. I know you saw the report on corrosion protection that's missing on Amher Street. Yeah, it's been like that for 5 years. To replace that, though, probably would have been easy 50 years ago when Albert Aldrich lowered the level in the lake. We'd get in there with a boat or hip waders and, replace the corrosion protection when it's exposed and not underwater. When it's at the water level, it's a little bit more difficult to deal with. You're pretty much limited as far as what you can do, but there's no perforations on that one. To be perfectly honest with you, I said we have 7 full bridges, 3 small bridges, but we have 142 culverts. Those are the ones that are our ticking time bombs. And if you're going to have a failure, I think you're going to see the culvert up on Amher Street near 116 fail first. That one we've already patched once. There was perforations. You could put your fist right through the sides of it. We patched it with concrete and cement as best we could in a dry time when there wasn't much flow. Those are the kind of ticking time bombs we've got a lot of. And a good example of cost, before I forget too, I just wanted to mention to the board and to TV, we are going to be starting a culvert on Bachelor Street. Well, not us, it's done through Eversource's entered a mitigation agreement with conservation because of all the work they did putting up all the poles and all of the pads through the wetlands and everything else. Eversource agreed to put a culvert in for the town of Granby. It's not the culvert that I would have liked to see go in. I wanted to do Easton Street, but the consultants and the DEP had better plans. They're going to rip out a perfectly good culvert on Bachelor Street and replace it with a bridge. So we'll have another bridge to maintain in the future, but it's going to be free. At this stage of the game, doesn't cost us anything. So
That's starting soon?
October 1.
Okay.
I met with the police chief this morning. The schools will be getting notified. I think he's having the resource officer try to determine how many kids would be affected on that because the bridge or the culvert will be ripped out for a month. So nothing will be going through between Porter and North. It'll be just local traffic, and there'll be some Jersey barriers put out near where Gary Phelps's house was, in the 140, 139 range. It's that culvert right there. And I just wanted to mention that on camera so that people get warned. I think the chief is putting it on Facebook, and I think Kathy's going to put it on our website as well. But 142 culverts, and many of them, I'd say almost half or a majority, are corrugated metal. And a lot of them not only have the corrosion protection missing, bottom asphalt gone, but they're just, the bottoms are gone, corroded, going. And if you're looking at complying with the new wetlands laws, you're talking about replacing a 24-inch, we're talking about on Bachelor Street right now, and replacing it with a 12-foot bridge. So that's the kind of expenses that we're looking at, and not only us, every town is, unless these environmental regulations are relaxed a little bit and we sort of meet in the middle, because they're pushing everything to be open bottom culverts or box culverts that are very much large to get openness ratios that are huge compared to what is there. It's not based on only the flow of the water going through. They want an openness ratio so animals and everything can go through. It's great for the environment, but what are we going to leave our kids in 50 years when all of these things start failing? We can't even fix the bridges we have, and we're going to add 142 more. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think there's got to be some meeting of the minds and some tempering of maybe a few of the more critical ones could be done with bridges and things, but there's certainly many of these could be replaced with a depressed culvert or something along those lines. But that's the ticking time bomb that I see for Granby and for many other communities. It's all these culverts that are going to be failing one after another, and we're seeing it not only, and that's only the culverts. There's 142 culverts, but we have thousands of feet of corrugated storm drain line as well. The High Street area is riddled with old lines. We did a patch on one of the concrete lines there last year where a joint had failed and blocked the pipe, but there's a lot of corrugated metal lines that are just gone, and we've got a little bit of funding to get started with some of that, but nowhere near enough money to hire contractors, so that we have to keep plugging away at it as we can. We replace a catch basin here and replace some pipe here and there. We did the catch basin last year on Green Meadow and ended up slip lining a pipe through because the pipe was shot at the same time. Same thing on Pleasant Street. We were adjusting catch basins and fixing the risers on the catch basin rot out because of the salt. Brick doesn't hold up very well, and we're using precast concrete risers now. It's faster, and it's I think a lot stronger than the brick. But we were fixing one of those on Pleasant Street before we paved last year, and we milled all the asphalt away, and then we noticed a sinkhole formed because there was a bad pipe there, so we had to slip line a pipe. But that's typical of the old infrastructure. It's been in the ground a long time, and we're going to start seeing more and more of that. So,
Any more bad news, Dave?
no, I mean, I just wanted to share with you that we're looking at the big picture of bridges.
It's
and-
good for the people
Yeah.
out there watching this stuff.
It's not only one bad report of loss of corrosion protection on one culvert. We're looking at all of these, and we're trying to come up with a reasonable approach to doing some of them. A good example is the Morgan Street culvert that we replaced is twin 5-foot culverts. Handles the same flow as that 70-foot bridge on the Ludlow Road. It's downstream from the bridge. That culvert was an emergency repair, though. It falls under different guidelines, and we were able to do it with culverts again. Again, it's not a huge culvert, but it's plenty open enough to get fish swimming through it of any type or any amphibians. Myself, as an engineer, I mean, I know it doesn't meet the current culvert standards, but as an engineer, I think it's more than adequate for the price that it was installed for. But that's the type of balancing act we're dealing with. Do you try to permit it and put a bridge in for $1 million, or do?
Well, I definitely think it's an ongoing problem. It's just based on some of the information you brought forward, Dave, and I think it's important that somehow, some way, we start planning to get these things fixed. And obviously, just like anything, it becomes a money issue. But, they're not gonna get any better. And at some point, we need to start spending some money to repair these, like the culverts you're talking about. They're gonna be costly concerns in the future, especially if we're not repairing them and moving forward that need to be repaired. It's just gonna get more expensive, and and God forbid if someone's traveling over one of them and something does happen, something does let go, and something happens to those people. So I'm willing to reach out to our legislative delegates for our area and see if they have just have a conversation with them in regards to, some of the things that you're talking about, but also really, bring some of our concerns as far as this here and money, like you said, it's just not us, but, really, bringing that down to Boston to be, talked about. These are real issues that are gonna face a lot of cities, a lot of towns, and, a lot of people don't have the money to make the repairs that they need to make, especially just based on, like you said, the new requirements. You almost making it impossible to such a costly project where, like you said, if you didn't have these restrictions or these requirements, it may not be as much to repair it or rebuild it, so.
To be honest with you, I haven't been as focused on the bridges because the bigger bridges obviously are inspected every 2 years. Mass DOT gives us a heads up if they see anything. Yeah, if they raise a red flag, we'll get on it immediately like we did with the Carver Street culvert. But that Carver Street culvert, excuse me, the Carver Street culvert is so bad with the thin cover on the rebar, and there's a lot of other issues, cracks and so on and so forth. That's one that I think we should try at some point in the future. I know there's some grant money coming out for the small bridge program, and that's one that I'd like to go after as another grant to replace the whole thing at some point in the future. But on the good news side, from what I'm hearing, Chapter 90 has been increased a little bit this year, and part of that increase will be based on road miles only.
On low miles? you said?
Road miles. We benefit significantly when the pie is sliced that way. Typically, Chapter 90 is based on road miles, population, and trip destination. And we lose out because the big cities have all the population, they have all the businesses. We get a little small piece of the pie out of that $200 million. Last year, when they came out with the RAP money, it was based strictly on road miles, and even though it was only half the money, and about $100 million, we almost got another full year's worth of Chapter 90 equivalent because we got so much more of the pie, basing it only on road miles. And in addition to that, I think there's another program that they're looking at this year for small communities, rural communities under 10,000 in population, so we might qualify for that as well. This year here, we've done a massive amount of road work. Apologize that you didn't get my departmental report in writing, but we've done more roads this year. We started off with a mile on Taylor, did another mile on Taylor with hot in place recycling, almost a mile between, another mile between Easton and Barton Street. We're just catching up, and then with all of the growth, we haven't stopped mowing all summer long. It's been crazy with mowing and trees and so on and so forth, but we've been busy. We're just starting to catch our breath. I think today and last week, it was the first couple of days I spent the whole day in the office, so I'm trying to get caught up on some of this other stuff. But if you have any specific questions on the rating program or how they do it, be happy to try to explain that to you. But if it's just to prioritize, when you see that, their prioritization is maybe years out, so it's nothing to get too excited about. When you start seeing critical or critical hazard, if it's a steel beam with a crack in it, I don't think we have any more steel beam girders. The Aldrich Street, when it was replaced, was the last one with steel beams. If you have a steel beam with a crack in it, that's immediately. Do you have to stop drill it, or you have to put splice plates on it? You got to get on it right away and make repairs immediately. Concrete is a lot more forgiving because there's multiple pieces of rebar in there. And, hopefully the redundancy is there, and cracks in concrete cracks immediately after you pour it anyway, so there are small cracks in concrete right away. It's just managing the corrosion on the rebar. And from what I've seen, most of Mass DOT bridges are in way worse condition than some of the ones we've got. I mean, not that our bridges are perfect, but
no, it's factual. It's also the state. It's just any other cities or towns. it's just an ongoing problem. And it's been like that for many, many years,
Yep.
you know.
But
You see, they do work on the highways and, 2-3 years later, it's like, did any work get done? Because it's just, things happen so much, and with the salt and, other things being put down on the road and deteriorates it, because of concrete.
We have made a big improvement in the pavement conditions, though. In general, the average PCI of the entire town. I haven't done the inspections again this year. I've got to go through and drive the town again and see what the rating is now, but I know it went up last year for the second time in a row. So we are making a difference. We've been sliding downwards because we weren't spending enough money, and then with the extra money from last year and extra money that Chris has provided, we've been putting a dent in. Some of the paving has been getting a little better. We started in the 70s, PCI of 70, 100 is perfect, 0 is your road is gone. We started, when we first started the pavement management, our average was about 70. It went down to about an average of 40. That was because of declines in the Chapter 90 monies being given to us and the increased costs in asphalt. Luckily, a few years back, the cost of asphalt dropped and we got a little extra money and we made a big difference in the last couple of years. However, this year, the cost of asphalt just doubled again. So we need twice as much money just to stay even.
Yeah.
So it is encouraging, these other couple of programs they did come out with this year, but I don't think it's been officially bonded yet. Luckily, they did allow us to start the work without the governor's signature and go ahead, because I was ready to cancel all the paving projects on Taylor Street, Barton Street, and Easton Street. We almost lost the whole season.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to give us the Chapter 90 allotments in March or April, and we still hadn't gotten it in July. And we were working with the new state aid engineer, and he got directive, because he must have been hearing a lot of complaints from contractors that everybody was about ready to lose their whole construction season. And there was a directive that came down from Boston that allowed us, as long as we would float the money until the governor actually gave us the official green light. They gave us an official number of 200 million to work with, so we had a target money to spend, but we can't put in for reimbursement until that paperwork is signed, and hopefully that's signed in the next few weeks, because we've already spent the money. So it's I just went out the door today. I think I gave Chris the bills on all of that money, just came through. So hopefully we can get reimbursed from Mass DOT for that, their share of it anyway.
I'm sure it will.
But if you got any other questions, I'm happy to try to.
On Burnett Road, we got the thing today. Is that just a signage issue on that bridge?
That's a good one.
I don't ever remember seeing signs there.
Yeah, no, the signs were there. And this is a first for me. I've never had to remove signs. I've had to change signs, the rating of them, because they changed the thing. I think they were on me on North Street. We were missing a sign, and they wanted them changed to a newer style. Burnett Street, about a year ago, they came through and said, you don't need to post them anymore. And I'm sitting there going, that's really odd. We haven't done any work on the bridge. It hasn't improved. We haven't strengthened it in any way. Did somebody just make a mistake? So I just let the sign sit out there, and then they sent me another nasty gram saying you got to remove the posting. So I actually did remove them today.
Okay.
So they are gone. So I hope they didn't make a mistake on their calculations. But the good thing is, on a narrow bridge, most bridges are designed, each lane would be designed for a worst case, 2 trucks passing themselves, one another on the bridge at the same time. When you're on a narrow bridge on a back road like that, usually everybody hangs to the center.
Yeah, not too
so
often
you
happens.
split the carrying
Yeah.
capacity of the truck into 2 lanes. So hopefully we never have an issue there. But I did follow their directive, because I wasn't the one doing the calculations on that one. I hope they got it right. But
And is that a steel beam there?
no,
It
that's a
says beam.
concrete.
Okay, because this said
Concrete
beam
deck.
4B repaired.
I think there's a concrete beam underneath that they
Okay.
wanted some work done on, I believe. I'd have to check the pictures on that one.
Okay. And it says recommendations, like you said. It doesn't say critical, it doesn't say.
It doesn't say
be done
critical,
now.
it's
Just a recommended.
prioritized, you know.
Okay.
You know,
Oh, is that the one
that's, put it on your to-do list
Yeah.
is basically, you know, it's something that needs to be done, your guardrail got hit. They do that all the time. In fact, that's one of the things that they put on the Amherst Street is the riprap. It'll sometimes slough off a little bit and we riprap it. It's a very steep slope there. It's hard to keep riprap on it. When you get a real gully washer of a storm, sometimes it'll move a little bit of it, but we occasionally go back in and riprap it. We keep an eye on it, try to keep it safe for everyone and not lose our infrastructure. We don't want to replace it just yet.
No.
Got to make it last a few more years. But that same assessment has been on that same report for, I think, 5 years. I went back and checked. So it's,
Okay.
you know, again, you got to sort of put the worst fires out first
Prioritize.
Yeah, I hear you.
and then get to the other ones afterwards. If that makes sense.
It does. You know, prioritize what needs to be repaired first.
So would you, Glenn and Rick, do you think it's fair when we get the bridge reports, instead of Dave having to come down here and explain the bridge reports, he just lets us know if he's doing anything on them? Or I think that's what you had said the last time when we looked at a bridge report and Dave came to talk to us, that he doesn't necessarily have to come down and explain the bridge report unless we have specific questions, but if he can let us, the board, know if he's doing anything on the bridge.
Sure, I'll put that in my
Or-
reports, or try to,
You put the
as much as I
updates on
can.
it.
Yeah,
I think the
just to
last
let us know
time,
what's going on with that
Yeah.
bridge,
Yeah.
or if there are gonna be repairs, or like you said, if it's no change after 5 years, or for the last 5 years, you can just say, like, I'm prioritizing based on.
yeah, I don't have time to really go and put my head in every culvert or anything
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
Every,
Well, I think this is only when we
but
get the
we
bridge report.
try to keep an
'cause we
eye
didn't
on
get the
things, and if we
culverts.
notice any slight sinkhole or something, we'll get on it, but some of these things are pretty minor deficiencies that they make a big thing of. In fact, one of the ones on North Street, I saw a sinkhole, you know, on the approach slab, and I'm going, uh-oh, I hope we don't have a problem like we did on the New Ludlow Road Bridge, where we've got undermining underneath the foundation. So I ran right out there and I'm looking, and it's just a slight little depression. And years ago, they used to use bank run gravel in the subgrades of underneath the roads. And what happens is you get a big nugget or something and the frost pushes it up, and all of a sudden you got a high spot and a low
Yeah.
spot, and you got a little, what
Underneath.
looks like a depression, but it's, you know, it's just movement from frost.
Yeah.
I just sent the guys out and patched it. I mean, it's, you know, sometimes they make a mountain out of a molehill, but they're there to be real critical about the bridge, and you just gotta understand that they're really looking at it with a microscope and making sure that it's safe,
Understandable.
Right.
and giving you every little tiny thing that they find. And we have to sit there and weigh, okay, we're gonna fix this one first, and that one's can be put off. And, but we do work on quite a bit. I think we did bridge rail on that Burnett Street one not too long ago, because Jim Cassidy travels that road all the time, and he was a former bridge inspector from Mass DOT, so he always comes to visit me in the office. Hey, you know, that railing is cracked again at the end of the bridge on Burnett, so we just ordered some new oak and put it on. It's not doesn't meet current standards, but it meets what was done at the time.
Right.
So we just replace it with in-kind,
That's a good fishing hole, too.
yeah. All right?
All right,
Thank
well,
you,
thank you,
Dave.
Dave.
Appreciate it.
A lot of information.
Mr. Chair, I have one more topic to discuss with the board.
Okay.
The Council on Aging Director Screening Committee did conduct interviews, and we would like to bring forward 2 candidates for public interviews with the board. We feel that it should probably be a separate meeting than a regular board meeting. When would the board be available?
So I believe Kathy put out the date of Monday, September
Monday, right?
11th, if you
Yeah,
guys
Monday,
can
yeah.
do it.
Is that good? 5:30?
Well, That's
Yeah.
good, yeah.
And schedule 1 hour for each of the interviews?
Sure.
Why don't we do like 45 minutes? And the reason I say that, so that if we finish up 45 minutes, we're not waiting 15, 20 minutes for someone to show up.
Okay.
I don't mind, I mean, I hate to say it, but, you know, if someone is waiting 5, 10 minutes, I think it's okay.
All right.
Unless someone feels different, I mean, do you want to go to an hour?
When we conducted the interviews, it was about an hour, right, Chris, from
Yep.
start to finish?
Yeah.
With the questions that we asked, but we did talk about allowing the public to submit questions ahead of time for what they want the board to ask the candidate. If you guys are okay with that, so that way they can, if there's something that we didn't think about, that they're concerned about, they can submit their questions, and then you would ask them, what are your thoughts? Because we have a list of 18 questions, I think it was, Chris, that we
Yes,
asked.
yes.
I think we got rid of 2, or we shortened 2 of them, because many of the times they'll answer the question when they're answering one of your other
Some not.
questions.
Yeah, just-
So it
yeah.
kind of minimizes some of the questions, but,
Well, the only reason I don't like the idea is because if we don't ask everybody's question, if we're picking and choosing, I don't want people to feel slated that, you know, well, I submitted the question, didn't ask my question. So that's what concerns me when we want input. I mean,
Do you, Crystal, do you think there's a lot of questions coming in from town?
I don't know, but I do know that there was a couple people from the Council on Aging, whether it's employees or people that go there, that wanted it to be an open forum where they could ask the candidate questions. And so we were trying to compromise with them and still have it be, because it's the select board that interviews them. So we still wanted the select board to be the ones that interviewed them, but we wanted the people to be able to have somewhat of a say on what we asked them. If there's, like I said, a question that we didn't think of that is a really good question that we should ask, I don't know. But I see where Glenn's going too with it, where you don't want to act like you're picking and choosing the questions that they're submitting. And then we also don't want the interview to be an hour and a half long either. So, I don't know, I was just trying to find like a happy medium to it, I guess.
I don't know if we won't put it up. It's always nice to have the public input on it, but it's,
Yeah.
if it's gonna be an hour and a half thing.
I like, sorry, Rick, I like the public's input as to what they are looking for in that particular position, not to ask questions. That falls under
Our
purview, and it's, to me, that's the professional way of doing it. We're the board that does it, it's our purview, instead of, nothing to say, but I don't like the idea of opening up to questions from the public, especially them asking questions. Not that I don't feel that people wouldn't ask proper questions, but it's just, you know, that's our job here. That's
So
what
then,
we're here for.
like you're saying, should they submit concerns for whoever's gonna be the director, what they're concerned about?
I would ask, what they're looking for in a person,
In the director.
in the director position, because that helps us, when we're interviewing people, to make sure that it's meeting the needs of some of the, and I'm not gonna use the word concerns, but some of what they feel are the needs for the seniors for that position.
Okay. Jay, I think we did a survey, remember a while back, Chris,
We
we did a
didn't get that
survey.
many responses.
I
We got
know.
like maybe, what,
That's right, I
4?
remember that,
I
yeah.
know. I was gonna say, I can look back at the survey at the questions that we asked, but you're right, we only got like 4.
Yeah, we didn't get that many.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in the search committee, what they did, and the interview process, and now we're moving on to the next step, and that's, you know.
Okay. All right, so we'll schedule the interviews for September 11th. One at 5:30 and one at 5:45.
Do you feel
You
there's a
said
need
one
for
at
that?
5:30 and,
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, 6:15.
okay,
6:50, yeah.
Yeah,
sounds good.
so, okay.
Everybody okay
I
with
think
that?
I've already wrote it down there.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, Kathy sent out to make sure people are available before, so it works. And for some reason, they can't make it, then we can always look at a different date.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Before we leave, I got a little information on the MWRA
Yep.
for you. So, we were all under the assumption, I think, that Belchertown is tied into that. They are not.
No,
Yeah.
I thought Ludlow was tied into it.
it's
No.
Chicopee, South Hadley,
District
and
1, Wilbraham.
Wilbraham.
Wilbraham,
That's they're on the Connecticut Aqueduct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That, yeah, I think it's Chicopee Valley something aqueduct.
Usually, I thought it was called the Connecticut Valley Aqueduct.
I got it written down here somewhere.
But they're tied into District 1, you're saying?
It's 3 communities. It was Chicopee, South Hadley, and,
South Hadley,
Wilbraham.
District 1, and Wilbraham.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to know that. And the only reason it comes in from the Ware River, or from the Quabbin into the Ware River, like 4,000 feet or something to get to the hatchery in Belchertown. That's the only part that Belchertown has to do with it. 6 million gallons a day go into the hatchery,
A lot of water.
and it comes back out, but because it's too warm, the river's too warm for the trout. Did permanently called Chicopee Valley Aqueduct.
Chicopee Valley.
Yep.
Crystal, anything?
No, I think Chris was gonna look into the engineer, right, that, set up this first study. So, but that's still for the MWRA. So just looking into the engineer.
Oh, that one we did with Mr. Stetsko or something.
Mr.
Who?
It was done back in 2014 or something, the study.
You're talking about AECom with Dennis Setsko?
Yeah, Dennis Stetsko, yep. 2014.
Let's see if I can find that.
40,000 on the study. Came up to a water treatment facility for Granby, and to the tune of $15 million back then.
215 million?
No, 15 million
Oh,
in 2014.
okay.
No, imagine that would cost today.
Triple it.
I was gonna say, because when we did the One Stop for Growth,
But
they
that
were
was,
willing for 2 million.
the study, I
It's not
believe-
even gonna touch not even half the amount.
The
No.
study also included, it was a water and sewage treatment
Okay.
facility they were planning to build.
Okay.
And they were gonna use a lot of money from rural development through the USDA.
Yeah, that was meant, yeah.
But then that money dried up. So that's why that project, I think, went down the tubes.
And that was around the same time the schools had the issue with the lead or something?
Yep, because we were gonna go up and take care of the school issue and come all the way down
Right, I remember that.
202 with a sewer pipe. And we're gonna lay the water main at the same time while you had the pits open.
Oh, would've, should've, could've.
Plus, I think we're gonna use the state revolving loan fund too as part of it too. Clean water fund,
Oh, I didn't see anything in that, but.
SRF,
Oh, yeah, I did see something about that.
yeah.
Anything else? Anything for our next meeting?
Chris, can I just clarify for the West Street School, they're looking at both options, right? But right now, they're just collecting the data for the renovations? Okay. All right, that's it.
All right, with that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there
I have
a
a
second?
second that motion to adjourn.
Any further discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody opposed? No. All right, thank you.